Hello. Welcome to the 5th annual roast of Andrew Daenerys. You're in for a great evening, full of all of the hatred we've bottled up for the entire year. It's going to be great. Huh? Yeah, it's a lot of hatred. Before we get started with the roast, I would be remiss if I didn't say a couple words about the organization that made this all possible, AS. AS, UCSD's #1 supplier of... We have a bunch of really funny people here and Daniel, so let's get right to it. Before I begin, I'd like to say this. I am extremely terrified.
Imagine how
I'm going to be really mean. These are some of the meanest things I've ever written. And I want you all to know how much I value each one of you and how much I'm going to fucking rip you apart. Where's my water? Let's go in order. Hannah's here. She's really smart, super smart. Hannah can sit in her lab all day. She learns about these complex organisms, learning what they eat, how they shit, how they screw. She really thinks she's a fucking expert on Panama. Hannah spends all this time on campus researching, learning. She's getting pretty close to getting published. That's a big deal. Isn't it comforting to go back home after you've accomplished so much, and your mom makes you your favorite meal and says, queso. Okay, so why should I give a shit when you're bringing home a man? Is UCSD giving out research grants in how to get a date? No. Okay. Meanwhile, Sage decided to be a part of this. I no godly idea why. I have not known Sage for very long, and wow, am I glad I'm graduating this year. No, that's a joke. But what isn't a joke? You're on a campus where second years don't get guaranteed housing. 3 people are living in doubles, and you can't fill a vacancy in your room. If we ask your roommate, what is she gonna say? Probably because you keep on a fucking lava lamp as a nightlight. Your Zac Efron sheets really clash with your Orlando Bloom pajamas. All right. This one's tough. I don't know how to tell you what a great friend Summer was. She would do anything for a laugh. When she got sick, we knew the laughs were going to stop soon. But she never gave up. She laughed right to the very end. Summer never knew how to quit. She consistently made the world a better place for her, for those around her, coming to the aid of anyone she saw was in need. When Summer saw pain in others, she shared her strength. And when Summer needed strength, she turned to the memories of those she helped. I know there are a lot of people hurting, people who knew what a bright light Summer was. We lost someone whose smile was all we needed. It feels hard right now, but I know she'd want us to celebrate the times ahead. Connor's here. Sorry, but after a certain point, the magic wand tool can't discriminate between shades of white. The only thing whiter than Connor is his mom's face when he told her he was going to be a communications major. Really, Connor is so white.
How white is he?
Yes. Connor is so white that if you put him in a lineup of bank robbers, the old woman behind the glass would go, That's him. That's the Irish bastard who's always trying to steal my Lucky Charms. So Summer's dignity isn't here, but she's not the only one not here. Jazz had to miss this too. She's got to go back to her blanket fort. But I want her to hear this anyway, so Jazz, this is for you. Hey, Jazz! Pre-librarian animated asparagus. Room's running out in that Seattle flower power cult you've had your eyes on. Fuck. But keep your chin up. Maybe if you cry over more New Yorker op-eds, those hot pre-election Hillary Warren /fic dreams will come back. I think there's going to be a lot of people up here who are going to talk about how Daniel acts or how Daniel feels or speaks. But I want to focus on his face, just his fucking face. At worst, Daniel looks like he's in the middle of explaining to a Facebook ignorant why inter-party turmoil stopped the eventuality of a Bernie presidency. But at his best, he looks like the third picture on an Animorphs cover. Glasses, plus that fucking hair, plus can't grow a beard for shit. It makes me think your parents met on opposite sides of a Nixon protest. I swear to God, in 20 years, you're gonna look like Woody Allen. Let's hope looks are all you inherit from him. Let's see who's next. Cat. Let's do a joke about Cat's rats. Cat's rats are so stupid.
How stupid are they?
Love it. Cat's rats are so stupid that they think she's not picking up on the little breadcrumbs they leave behind them. No, she picks them up. She sees them, she cleans them up, and then it's back into the cage for the rats where she fattens them. I know how the story ends. Have you ever noticed how every time Cat alters something, 2 to 3 MQers follow suit? Cat gets a nose piercing, Hannah gets a nose piercing. Cat dyes her hair, 2 days later, Matt McMahon's in my living room doing the same. It's like you're the driving force in this org for terrible life decisions. But really, Kat is just constantly changing things about herself and her lifestyle, the piercing, the hair, the rats, the music. She's so clearly rebelling against her parents. Poor old mom and dad. I mean, the only way Kat could rebel more against her parents is if Riley went back to looking like a washed-up 70s porn star. Oh, Lawrence. Are you serious with this shit right now? No one in this room has more interesting hobbies that are just sad metaphors. Like your absurd love for clothing and male fashion. It wasn't until this year that I learned that you're just doing this out of imitation for your older brother. Let me tell you, as an older brother, there is no amount of flattery and imitation that will shake your brother's feelings that you're the younger brother he never wished he had. Or take bouldering. Lawrence loves to climb. He starts at the bottom of a rock, finds the hardest way up the rock, works and works just to fall on his ass 90% of the time. But success isn't the goal. He's always looking for that next adrenaline rush, that new way of recreating the day Amy left. Evan showed up, in costume as always. Let me guess, today you're cosplaying as a footnote in your friends' biographies? Evan, your energy and personality, along with that salt and pepper beard, gives you the essence of being a young boy trapped in an old man's basement. Before you left the MQ, there was a year of overlap between you and Cole Greenbaum. That was a fucking tough year. I got 2 earfuls of Stan Lee fuckboys crying about how they could have treated Charlie Cox better. Speaking of Cox, Andrew. Andrew, where would we have been without you? How could we have made it through last year without a huge racial scandal in our paper? How would we have had to beg MCC to give us more money if you weren't around? It's hard to say. But I don't want to talk about your personal failures, professional failures, when you've got so many personal ones. Andrew moved out here from the frozen incest haven that is Salt Lake City, only to sport a football team whose very name and record can only remind him of the tundra from which he came. Andrew's luck in football is like Jacob's luck in men. He finally finds the one he really cares about, truly loves them, and then they dump him and leave him for a bigger city. Andrew, if you're planning on losing your virginity in the post-Super Bowl party for the Chargers, you better make sure the cum doesn't fuck up the oxygen tank tubes. But Andrew's really come a long way since coming out here. For instance, Evan's been dressing him these years. I think we can all say that's a step up from looking like a minimum wage Target employee. Could you imagine if Evan had given you this clothing advice back in middle school? You could have avoided some of those beatings. I mean, I assume they were beatings. All right, sincerely now, Andrew, You were an excellent person to work with, an even more excellent friend to have. You made this all possible, and for that, I thank you. Yes. If you love this, you're going to, I don't know. Please help me welcome our next roaster. Her mom isn't the only one who wished she'd stayed in Texas. It's Hannah. Yeah.
I'm gonna rap.
Yeah.
If you couldn't tell by the sweet get up, we're gonna wait for Cole to start the music, and then there's gonna be a solid 2-measure build up. So get ready.
You need hype people.
Oh, this is it. Not yet. Not yet. Now this is a story all about Andrew. We did a lot of things, but all by a strict curfew. Streamlined and microwave meals and Diet Coke. Not a joke, he just doesn't know how to use a stove. The only motherfucker fascinated by traffic patterns. Ask him where he's been, he'll start a tangent up again. He took the 5 to Sunset Drive. You wanna drive? He loves to drive. Did you know? Did you know there's 100 bus routes in San Diego? Did you know Andrew cares where every one of his routes goes? He studies every night logistical map shit. The kind of stuff that makes you snore is packed in his attic. Basic, he's basically buried in his own pit of useless information, planes, trains, cars, space vomit. He'll spit out to capital, slave over names of chemicals, do math problems just for fun about atoms and neutrons. Record seasons of Jeopardy, gets his cool on, schools you on the rules of laws, but who says coupon? Andrew's a game piece sitting at the edge of the board. Wait. Andrew's a game piece sitting at the edge of the board of Barack's Super Legacy Edition Pandemic 4, though. Pretty sure he's not obsessive as the guy who spent extensive time to spawn to Lynn Dominion decks a tad regressive. Even one of Evan's most obnoxious handkerchiefs couldn't distract him from the one time he grew with something on his upper lip. Got that one nice. He's got a 3-story apartment where he lives by himself. No one could handle all his chatter. Wait. He's got a 3-story apartment where he lives by himself. No one could handle all his chatter, not even that asshole Connor. Sadder than Daniel's sense of humor, his ego rapidly inflates based on every rumor. He dances to the sound of his name said by others, like Lawrence when he hears that sweet 6-8 time signature. Too bad that, like Cole, he lacks tact in the sack, wishing like Summer, thinking she has a chance with Chance the Rapper, and he's always talking about his work. The time he spends locked up in lab is absurd. You'll never hear him stop singing, he's rolling on the floor again. Wrong person. But actually, Andrew, we're barely getting started, so why don't you just exit the stage and go back to where you came from?
Good. She's younger than most of us here, but she dresses like she's already given up on life. Please welcome Sage.
Thanks for that, Hannah. 10 out of 10. Hello, my name is Sage Crystal. For those of you who may not know me, I am the newest addition to the content team, and I am also certified as Cole Greenbond's greatest regret of 2016. I signed up to roast Andrew because I thought it'd be funny to roast a person I didn't know, like printing GIFs in the MQ. Conceptually, it's a great idea, but it's very difficult in practice. That's enough about me, so let's talk some shit. Tonight I'm honored to be standing in a room with so many legendary fuckos. We've got Daniel Rodham Clinton, who isn't so much of a fucko as he is a fuck boy. I'll tell you all that as much as Daniel talks about his cat, I've yet to see it, but I'll forgive my second favorite leprechaun friend and attribute his hallucinations to one of the side effects from being dropped on his head too much as a child. As much as I make fun of him, Daniel is a real visionary. Have you seen his Seinfeld box? It takes a real creative type of person to make something like that. I mean, it's so impractical and pointless. Only someone as artistic as Daniel would throw their time and energy into an Amazon box that plays a theme song from a show about nothing. We've also got Connor Gonorrhea Gory in the house with us tonight. For those of you who may not know, Connor is a Photoshop master. And rather than using his skills for evil, like photoshopping abs, tattoos, and smoking hot women into pictures of him to look cool, Connor has decided to use his skills for good by photoshopping severed feet into mailboxes, burritos into the tiny hands of our president, and what I can only assume to be cocaine into the nostrils of Cole. I don't know what that was from, but I fucking saw that on the website. All in all, Connor is still my favorite MQ leprechaun, and I have to give him brownie points for being able to live with a schizophrenic. That's got to be a problematic situation. Speaking of problematic situations, we've got the one and only Summer Davis as a roaster. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Summer. She's the only person in the MQ who openly appreciates my memes. She also creates fun after meetings and weekend meetups for the MQ. I just wish that she would actually attend the meetings. Summer is also possibly the clumsiest person I know. Summer claims that she has fallen twice in public this quarter. Only twice? Come on, Summer, don't lie. We all know you put Humpty Dumpty to shame. The queen of copy, Jazz Twerksy, will be making jokes later this evening. That was on purpose, too. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Jazz made a Google survey to get to know some of her friends more in depth. I was doing pretty well on the survey until I got to a question about rats. At first, I thought she was joking about her love of rats until I went to her apartment and found that she literally provided housing to rodents. And I'm not just talking about Kat. Speaking of, we've got the one and only Kat Von Wood as a roaster. Kat, when I came to college, one of my hopes was to escape my biggest pet peeve, hipsters. And when I first met Kat, I knew she was the kind of girl who collected succulents, had pet rats, and put avocado on her toast. But I never thought she would be into monster trucks. When I first heard Kat talk about Monster Jam, I knew I had to get away from her. I mean, there's nothing more destructive than a person filled with such a huge capacity of self-loathing. We've also got Hannah Rosensplatz with us tonight. Hannah, you are from Texas, and if that isn't the most savage thing that is said tonight, I really don't understand what a roast is. And I really don't. But the struggle continues, and you can't mention struggle without mentioning Lawrence. Struggle, I say, because you can't get this guy to show up to anything while sober. Lawrence, I see your Snapchats, I hear the trash ska music that your friends make, but I'm worried about whether you can hear it, because like I said, it's pretty garbage. But all in all, Lawrence, you're pretty meh. Did someone say garbage? Because Evan Burkini is in the house tonight. I don't know Evan very well, but what I do know about him, I don't approve of. Evan and I have watched a few episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race together, and I've always been salty that him and Jacob get to meet the queens IRL. But when I thought about it, I realized it's because Evan and Jacob are way more easygoing than me. Like, who would touch Trixie Mattel? Let alone her tongue anywhere near you? Like, you don't know where her tongue has been. But I think it's fair to say it has most definitely been up Katya's asshole. Did someone say asshole? We've got Matt, Mary, Kate, and Ashley Olsen, who had signed up to be a roaster tonight. For the 5 months I've known Matt, I don't think I've ever seen him taking down for content. Matt also has a tendency to show up late to meetings. That's if he shows up at all. And it seems that Matt stayed true to himself tonight and dipped out on the roast. But that doesn't mean I didn't write jokes about him, so here goes. Matt, it was just yesterday that I found out you were in the MQ in 2011. That was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I was in middle school, I had never cut my hair, I had never had my period, and I only wore skirts. That's all true. So over the past 6 years, I think it's fair to say that one of us hasn't really matured, and it's definitely you, because I get my period once a month. Our wonderful roast master, ladies and gentlemen, Barack Tzatziki Sauce also happens to be our editor-in-chief of the MQ. I've been told that Andrew was last year's editor-in-chief, which helps me better understand his leadership methods of production is super important unless the Falcons are losing to the Patriots, which if that is the case, then fuck this shit, I'm watching football. And it's not that I think Andrew isn't a football fan, but rather a neglectful parent. And trust me, I would know about neglectful parents. But all jokes aside, Brock is a fantastic editor-in-chief who is really considerate of others. Before the roast, Brock asked us to write down things we didn't want others to make fun of. Brock wrote down, quote, don't overdo it with the isms. I have no idea what that means, but in the spirit of not giving a shit, here are a bunch of isms that I think Barack will take offense to. Capitalism, anarchism, exceptionalism, idealism, which is the belief of ghosts, individualism, optimism, skepticism, fuck, never mind. Before I end my roast, I should probably make fun of the man of the hour, Andrew Daenerys. Andrew, I don't know you very well, and you really don't know me. But within the last week, you added me on Facebook, and I've done enough scrolling through your profile to where I feel I can properly make fun of you. So here goes. Andrew, your Facebook says you are from Utah.
Hang on, just a sec. Sorry, hang on. Just a second.
In the middle of my... Oh.
He's being an asshole. He hasn't finished being an asshole yet.
That's just water.
It is
isn't
water.
Yeah, he's got to drive back.
All right. Are you done? You good? Okay. Like I said, you're from Utah. You claim you aren't Mormon, but if my parents taught me anything, it was not to trust a Mormon. Contrarily, there's nothing I trust more in this world than money. And Andrew, it seems you have plenty of it. There is also the phrase that money talks, and from hearing Barack gush about how much you gave us, I feel like you and I have known each other forever. But in seriousness, thank you, Andrew, for being the generous fucko that I've heard you to be. And because I like to get to know you better, I wrote my phone number on the 3rd page of our latest issue of MQ, but I only wrote it on 1 copy, so you should probably get started because I wait for no man. Good night, God bless America, and get home safe.
Sweet. Next up, the woman who needs no introduction.
God.
You gotta give that back.
You gotta do the same bit for 5 more.
It was water.
No sense of yet.
Fail right off.
He should know. He did the likes.
I just realized I assumed that when you said the woman who needs no introduction was me, it could have been Kat. I'm so mad. Okay. Hello. I prepared a few words. Andrew Daenerys. Enough about Andrew. Let's talk about me. Actually, I'm kidding. I saved the best for last, which means we're going to start with Andrew. Andrew is so lame that he checked on me twice at a party when he thought I looked uncomfortable, and then he asked my roommate to check on me too. Dude, just order me an Uber and send me home, like what Cotter and Daniel did last night, because they didn't want me to walk home alone in the rain. Y'all are pathetic. Wait, just wait. If you keep being that nice, everyone's gonna want to be your friend. Boom, roasted. Yeah, this is what I'm doing. Andrew is so rich with love and support from his friends and family. What's that like, Andrew? You delicate woodland creature, you? Andrew is so frail that all he's ever offered me is emotional support, advice, and friendship. Haha, nerd. Last year I tried to pick up one of Kat's rats and almost dropped it, but she didn't say anything. So I've always felt really bad about it, and sometimes I still have flashbacks. Hashtag burned, hashtag roasted. Tell me if I'm being too mean. Barack is such a terrible person. He's one of the few people in the MQ that I'm still scared of, along with Kat, Jacob, Jen, Daniel, Lauren, Lawrence, Leo, Riley, and Evan when they come to things. Because he maintains the delicate balance of respect, admiration, and fear that all good leaders have. Recover from that, Barack. I heard Hannah Rosenblatt sing once, and it made me cry because I never thought I would get to hear what the voice of an angel sounds like. Oh, savage. And now the moment I've been waiting 19 years for. Summer Davis is so awkward that her roommate has had 3 mutual friends say to her, "Hey, I tried to say hi to Summer today, but I don't think she remembered my name." Summer Davis doesn't actually know the bus schedule. She just stands at the bus stop and hopes for the best. Summer Davis has such terrible taste in music that Spotify doesn't make daily mixed playlists for her anymore. They're trying to cut her off. Summer Davis is such a bad sister that one time she tried to throw a credit card jokingly at her sister, and her sister had to go to the doctor because she cut her eye. Summer Davis is such a terrible friend that she spent half of her friend's roast talking about herself in the third person, and he doesn't deserve that. I know you won't want to be friends after this, Andrew, because I was so mean to you, so just know that I love you.
Great. If you all look out to your right, we're coming up on UCSD's least prized possession, Connor Gorey.
Thanks for that, Barack. Way to show everybody why the Jew is still in charge. But joke is on you. I am not a comm major, and also really fucking red right now. Thanks for that, Summer. That was really brave. Next time we have a roast, I'll be sure to donate to your GoFundMe beforehand, and maybe we can get some real jokes. Daniel, I'm really looking forward to your bit as well. Listening to it as you practice, I'm not sure whether to be prouder of your comedic timing or the fact that you took out the vacuum for the first time last week. Wait. Which one's the on button? Believe it or not, in the 6 months that I've lived with Daniel, I've yet to walk in on him watching porn. There was this one time, though, when he was playing Overwatch and insulting Matt Olson, and he just happened to have his dick in his hand. Oh, he's such a scrub. Oh, such a noob. Jazz is not here, which is good because the only thing I had written down for her was politically correct, non-offensive joke. And the last thing we want today is for anybody to feel offended, personally targeted, or made fun of at this roast. Sage is here, which I think is really great. Way to step up as a first year. For those of you alum who don't know her, Sage Crystal Murphy is our newest assistant content editor. And Sage was named for her parents' 2 favorite things. Sage for her mother's favorite spice, and Crystal for all the crystal methamphetamine that her father was doing in order to be banging her mom at the age of 65. Evan is here, and he's sporting a brand new beard, which is just to remind us all that he's Nightwing now. Working with Lawrence was always weird because of just how ambiguous his expectations were. He pulled me up, he said, "Connor, what's wrong with this graphic?" I say, I don't know. But somehow the only requirements that I know for getting into Lawrence's pants are be a gusset. I'm not sure whether my favorite thing about Barack's LinkedIn profile is the fact that his high school education is listed 4 times. or that his book, Sometimes This Happened, is listed under his publications. As one Amazon reviewer wrote, Sometimes This Happens reflects the harsh realities of high school. And as Daniel told me after he read it, it's a bit like Daria Wimpy Kid, but without the pictures and a slightly bigger vocabulary. It's been great working with Kat this year in graphics. She is somebody that is always incredibly enthusiastic to be there. I think the only thing that gets Kat more excited than article graphics is Monster Jam. And rats. And wrestling. And knitting. And work. Looking back, I think my favorite thing that we've added this year to the graphics department has been a way to always know that a graphics editor is in the room. I'll walk in and I'll have this air horn that I'll sound, and Kat will just walk in and laugh. Once. Really loudly. Ha! Hannah's here, which is incredible because I think the only way that we got her out of her lab was to tell her that this was a live showing of Hamilton. And judging by her opening number, I don't think she knows. I mean, people pay $600 for that. And finally, Andrew. We thought you'd be over us, but, you know, you're here. And it's good to have you back. It's a little sad to see that you peaked in college. And I'm pretty much only saying that because the Broncos won the Super Bowl. But honestly, it's really hard to roast somebody who's just like so damn nice all the time. I think the only time that I've ever seen Andrew angry was at the Koala. Sage, the Koala is the name of the newspaper you were trying to find, and then you ended up here. And Andrew taught me that the best way to get what you want is through an unbridled passion. Through blood, sweat, and tears. Or in Andrew's case, only tears. Lots and lots of tears. But I'm incredibly thankful to have been a part of something that clearly means so much to you, Andrew. And I'm also thankful that nobody told you about the NASA budget cuts, because I'm sure you would have found a way to fund that too. And nobody wants to see a bunch of space nerds in a room together roasting somebody. Thank you.
Next up is Jazz. She's not really here, so we don't even have to pretend to laugh at her jokes.
Hey, Andrew, and hey, all. I'm sorry I can't make it to the roast in person. It would have been the first time I've seen the dude in person in months, so, you know, that should tell you something about the depth of commitment Andrew has in his friendships. No, but seriously, it's a shame I can't make it, because there's no way to get feedback from the audience this way, you know? I can't tell how these jokes are landing. That's not a problem, though. I'll have Andrew calculate their flight trajectory. This roast reminds me of how at the end of last year, when all of you seniors were graduating, we kind of had a roast then too. And when we were planning this, Alex remembered it, you know, and asked who suggested it. And we're pretty sure you did. So Alex said it seemed kind of mean. I don't know if you liked it. But come on, dude. You lived for that. And that fact may be more of a self-roast than anything else I'll dish out today. But I'm still going to try. You know, it's good for it to be here at UCSD and everything, since this is our home turf, but I bet Andrew could have hosted. I heard Andrew's house is inordinately big. Apparently, he has 3 bedrooms in his new home. 3. That is an astonishing number for a guy who lives alone. What's he doing with all that space? Maybe it's so his parents can move in with him one of these days, since, after all, they bought it. Maybe, you know, they'll all spend 6 months there out of the year, and then they can go spend the rest of the time at the Daenerys family summer mansion. Or maybe the 3 bedrooms are so his potential future kids could live there one day. Andrew's the sort of guy who likes to plan ahead and has spreadsheets to organize his other spreadsheets. But still, that would be really planning ahead, because I think he'd want to find a boyfriend first. Oh, yeah, has anyone mentioned that yet, that Andrew's gay? I don't know what order these things are going in, and Barack was like, you can't make fun of Andrew's sexuality, and I was like, damn, way to skewer half my jokes. Next thing I know, you'll be telling me I can't make dumb jokes about my own queerness. So, The fun thing about Andrew being gay, though, is that Andrew, like, only kinda knows how to be gay. Like, okay, sure, he's got the crucial element, I suppose, of being into dudes exclusively and all, but he can't dress for the part. And he would really like to be able to dress for the part, because the bit he has got down is a passion for musical theater and drag. Or both. It seems like only a matter of time before I see Andrew dressed up as the female lead from the Book of Mormon. And okay, admittedly, Evan picks out his clothes and having another guy dress you is still super gay. But like, Andrew likes football? Like, really likes football. Andrew probably had opinions about the Super Bowl even before he found out that Lady Gaga was going to do the halftime show. Now, I can't stand football, and to me, it's just a bunch of guys tackling each other occasionally with very long breaks. But maybe Andrew looks up to them. They're so much alike. Huge, muscle-bound, in peak physical condition, valued for their bodies over their minds, with boatloads of self-confidence.
Oh.
Okay, that last jab might not have been quite fair, because I doubt all football players have boatloads of self-confidence either. It's just, Andrew just looks so bland, like he spent all his life in an engineering lab and just absorbed some of the gray. Which is pretty close to true. But it's not entirely true. He goes outside sometimes, you guys. He really does. How else is he supposed to look up into the beautiful blue San Diego sky and tell you facts about the mechanical details of every passing airplane? But listen, a guy has to be allowed some leeway coming from a state that doesn't even allow alcohol. And it's important that Andrew not drink too much either. If he did, he might get talkative, and then the conversation might turn to his job, and the next thing you know, he's told you more classified information than Trump's told to Russia. Because Andrew's top secret knowledge is equally important, and don't you forget it. If you do forget the fact that his work has to be kept in strict secrecy, though, he'll gladly remind you that he really just can't tell you anything. Anyway, now that I've made a political reference, I had better wrap this up. I'm seriously sorry I couldn't make this in person. But, dude, you didn't have to donate all this money to get this. I would have gladly insulted you for free.
Do you want me to move the thing back? Just keep it? Fuck it. Huh? All right. Born in Carlsbad, conceived in a Carl's Jr., it's Daniel! Okay.
Mine is not gonna be. What? What? Fuck off. Okay, mine's not gonna be as good as all yours because this is just short and sweet. I'd like to first thank you all for being brave enough to admit you all have similar social lives to Andrew. That's real brave. Like, real good. Okay, I'll start with my roommate first. Connor, you're too fucking hard on yourself. You're like a fucking Irish masochist. Though that does explain why you like Irish car bombs so much. By the way, never rule out plastic surgery. I'm proud that you've not let that face hold you back. Insulting Summer is like hitting her dad with a bat. She really wants to do it, but it hurts her a little bit deep down whenever it happens. Congrats on winning the position of EIC unopposed, Barack. I'm real proud. Your parents must be proud that their son is the no one else better applied candidate. Barack's also written a shitty book. They're probably not very proud of that, though. Kat, thanks for that noise complaint. It's really nice. I can never tell if Kat's laughing or an ostrich just watched a kid get hit by a bus. Hannah was voted by her high school most likely to start singing nonsensical lyricals in the middle of a conversation and then make this face. I really like the parts of Hannah's rap in which she stopped talking because I really enjoy commercials when watching TV shows. Hannah tried to get more sleep this week, and if that rap is indicative of anything, I liked you more when you were sleep deprived. Evan, hey old timer. It's a little sad that you can't cosplay as an adult who has his life together. I'm real proud that Lawrence showed up sober. We're all your friends, Lawrence. We're all here for you. Drinking is not the only solution to your problems. Sage, I'm going to go easy on you. Congrats on being the only freshman here. It was real brave of you. By the way, that's Lawrence in the back, not Chris. You racist piece of shit. And last, we have Andrew here. Continue on my advice, Andrew. When you say every joke at the end, you don't have to say I'm sorry after it. We already know you hate us all. You don't have to, pretend that it's fine. Andrew's the only person I've ever seen orgasm watching a spaceship land. It was an experience.
You know that's what I sound like.
Well, whatever. Congrats on the Accutane, Andrew. I also don't like pizza.
Oh, shit. Cole, can I get a boost and a crane for this mic? It's Kat!
So I've been far too busy. So I didn't finish printing, or not printing, but writing this until 5 minutes into the car ride on the way here.
Oh, wait, drive. Send me your thing.
Hello, I'm Kat. This is at least partly about Andrew, so I'm on theme. So Riley let me use his joke about Andrew, and also about me, which was that 2 years ago, I ran for EIC against Andrew, and Riley phrased it as the time we had to choose which gangly weirdo to have for EIC. I'd like to argue that this trend continued with Barack, as he and Andrew both share a noticeably thin frame and an unconditional love for correcting people. The one caring thing that I've seen Daniel do was try to prevent me from hitting my head while I was attacking him to wrestle. Other than that, I'm not sure that you have any human emotions other than apathy, scorn, willful ignorance, and drunk. He was also voted most likely to become a meth head by age 27 in high school. But if it's any comfort, I think they're wrong. I think it's age 25. Connor had a profile picture of him holding a lamb when we first became friends on Facebook. Okay, it's fine. Hit play. Okay. I'm warning you. Okay, now is time. What? Yeah. Click again. Okay. There we go. Connor had a profile picture of him holding a lamb when we first became friends on Facebook, and I remember looking at it and being really confused because at first I couldn't tell which pale, quiet, vaguely pastoral, being I was supposed to be looking at. And apparently everyone's made jokes about how pale Connor is, so, sorry, I didn't mean to, pile on top of that. I wrote my own jokes. Okay, next. Okay. Okay, no, don't hit next. It's fine. Okay. Summer, this is about Summer, okay. Summer does publicity type activities for at least 3 different orgs. Is it 3 or is it 4? Because Girl Up? 3, okay. Maybe more, which requires a lot of energy, I'm sure. I think you're fueled purely by unceasing narcissism and naked juice. It's the Odwalla one you hate, right? Okay, now I know what to bring to your funeral. I think you also love being insulted because it's all you know, and you don't know how to ask for any other type of attention, given that you were never hugged as a child.
That is it, exactly.
Sage wears a lanyard, which is how you know she's either a college freshman or a mom who's always running just late enough to never make it to the gym. I didn't plan for her outfit. And you're always running. You're always running like just late enough to never make it to the gym because you're busy driving around the kids and yelling at grocery clerks. Sage is also the name of an herb or like a synonym for wise, but I think it's reaching a little to suggest that you were named for any type of like intellectual expectation. This one's about Jazz. It is hard to believe that God managed to fit so much social awareness into a person that petite, but they did, so good job, creator of the earth. Jazz is also the only person I've seen wear a robe at UCSD, so everyone else is like running around not looking like a fuzzy Sherlock Holmes who never heard of Coke, and you all really need to step up your robe game. Okay, hit it, okay. Andrew sure spends a lot of time complaining about Mormons and how much of a Mormon he isn't for an average person. I was going to show this picture and make a joke about he's probably a Mormon because who else has a bowling stance that looks like Jesus on the cross? But when I was getting this picture off of Facebook, I noticed someone made a crucifixion joke like 2 years ago, so now I can't. I wish I knew more cool facts about starfish so I could make Andrew looks like a starfish jokes. But I think he's probably glad I didn't because starfish are known for their disgust of maps and frank disinterest in California's variant transit system. Lawrence thinks there's a right way to cook pasta. Okay, and now I have Hannah Rosenblatt and Evan left. Evan's kerchiefs, I was too busy to finish. And Hannah Rosenblatt is just question mark, sleep, question mark. And so now I'm inviting Riley to tag in. What were you saying?
Oh, I just had one thing. I sent you a text for the joke that I was going to say. I can do it, or you can do it.
I'll read it out loud. Daniel looks like he's wearing 3 different dead old men's clothing, which is true, though.
No, it's very true.
No, that's just true
smell
today.
Like
Yeah, and vets. Oh, I remember my other joke about you was that you look like a gay dad. And Riley's is Evan always talks about the fact that nobody is totally straight or gay, which is clear because when you look at him, he looks like a lame straight dude from the waist down. I'm also going to share Matt Olson's joke, which he probably didn't intend, so let's hope it's not too rough. Quote, I'm surprised that Hannah managed to find time to get here instead of extracting sea urchin embryos. Presumably someone lied and told her we'd like to hear her rap, and she jumped at the opportunity. It'll be interesting to hear her rap, something that wasn't written by someone more talented or Portuguese.
Portugal?
This one's really closely to all that Hamilton stuff that was said. Yeah. Or something about her being as funny as the sea urchins she's violating for science. Did you have anything you wanted to jump into my spotlight for?
That was on my text.
Okay. I'd also like to remind everyone that I'm bisexual because a new hobby I have this year is co-opting other people's events to make them all about my sexuality. Thank you.
Oh me, oh my goodness, what a fucking idiot. It's Lawrence Lee.
Hello. This will be not nearly as well planned out, nor as eloquent as most of your others. That's okay because I speak like that and you talk like this. So, that's fine. Thanks all for coming. Great to see you, Barack. Thank you. Thanks for coming here. Thanks for not organizing this event and not micromanaging Cole. I'm sure that he got it done all by himself. You're the man. Talking to the mic. I know you had a bit of a dilemma earlier this school year. You wanted to go to grad school. Very, very admirable endeavor. Grad school's super cool. You're a smart guy. You could totally do it. You didn't want to do it. You didn't do it. I don't know what you're doing now. I think you may have commitment issues, but not just because of how many commits you have fewer than me on the on the Git history for the MQ website. Hi, Sage. Glad to see you here. Did you roll out of bed? Did you sleep in those clothes? The end of production is pretty much just like the morning for you, but I don't know where the pajamas begin and where the regular wear ends. It's very difficult to tell. I don't really have anything to say about you, Summer. You're uninteresting, and I don't want to feed your ambitions.
Yes. Hurt me, Lawrence.
Hi, Kat. Also glad you're here. I don't know anybody else more accepting of having their significant other pawn them out for other sexual intimacy jokes, which is fine. It's at the very top end of this spectrum of shitting on your SO. Alternatively, Jazz is in here, and I know our ed board selection process was pretty rough. That's fine. We can all do it. We can all shit on everybody. It's okay. Doesn't make people bad. It's fine. Hi, Hannah. Hi. A lot of people talked about you not being in lab. I think that's fine. You're out of lab all the time. I just can't tell whether you're slowly becoming one of these sea creatures that you're studying.
Oh, way to show off the fucking gusset.
That's okay. I can.
Yeah, just show it off.
Hey, Dan. I think that you wrote a lot of great jokes for this roast. Most likely because you spend all of your time shitting on everybody else anyways, because you're caustic, and you probably have a lot of internal hate. I know it's really easy for you to shit on Andrew because he's not from your department, and that's your area of focus. Oh, look, they're not in my department. They're doing shit. Why aren't you being better at your job? I'm so good. Have you been to distro? How many distros have you been? Slick line, Dan. I've got nothing, Connor. Sorry. Yeah. Hello, Andrew. A lot of people didn't really say a lot about you, which is weird because we're trying to roast you here. Are you feeling it yet? That's what I say. Yeah. Thank you for coming. I really, really appreciate your donation. It was significant, and I think all of us here are really happy that we actually get to continue. Small question. Did the money come from you, or was it from both of your parents and then matched by their companies? And to everybody, we're renaming the MQ the Susan and Evan Quarterly. It'll be fine. They're standing EICs. I mean, for the most of the time I've known you.
Hang on, Lawrence. I just wanted to ask you something. Like, are you like feeling okay right now? Like, are you doing good?
I may or may not have came right before this.
That's okay. Like, it's a good aesthetic. Yeah.
Thanks. Is that it? I'm not sure.
He's trying to make jokes.
Good joke, Andrew. Really funny. Better than most of mine. For most of the time
do you want to like move this along? Like we're kind of. I mean, like we've got a timetable here, right? These are only supposed to last an hour, and like.
I mean, let me just consult your timetable spreadsheet. Oh God, it's not color coded. What does it mean if it's not white? All the boxes are white, Andrew. I don't know what it means. Yeah, so for most of the time that I've...
Already, my God! Shit, how is this going?
Can I actually have that back? That's fine. I'm just gonna talk through whatever you're gonna say next. Fuck, Andrew. No, for most of the time that I've known you, Andrew, you've always treated yourself really well. You know, being healthy and eating well, and you know, really making sure that your nutritional intake is nice and balanced across the board, and that in any given case, if you weren't running off your parents' money, that you would be able to totally budget and make yourself some great meals. But you know, I trust that would happen if such a thing were to occur. I actually really don't remember the rest of my jokes. Gonna have to look back. Yeah. Andrew hasn't written a lot of articles in his time, which is totally cool. A lot of people in the MQ don't write articles all the time. I'd like to give you a nice, completely unrelated breakdown of things Andrew cares about. All right. 1/8 being gay. 1/8 Utah/Mormons. 1/8 football. 1/8 space and technology. Maybe like 1/4 family, being Greek, things that are Greek. Sauce. Maybe 1/4 school, but I guess you're not in school anymore. Coincidentally, these also are proportional to the themes of the 7 articles Andrew has written. How you divide 7 by 8, I don't know. Ask him. He's the expert. Yeah, a real nice representation of who you are. Did you know that 4 out of 7 of your articles all end with "at press time" and then a shitty joke? Which is to say, sorry for that relative-based comparison. I should have just said joke. Andrew is probably one of the more unfashionable people I know. We've touched a lot upon this. Not a lot of people have touched upon Andrew. That's okay. Is it because of the clothes? I don't know. When we first met, and for the years that followed, Andrew did look exactly like what he did not want to say he was, which is a Mormon from Utah. You know, I too can wear my UC San Diego shirt, and my lightly faded, ill-fitting jeans, and my orange Merrill sneakers every day. Yes, you're a visionary. Yes, you're Steve Jobs. You're totally cool with it. I'm making most of this up. I don't have any of this written. So, you know, I was real happy when Evan decided to get into getting you to wear nicer clothes, you know, and the first time I saw you, I believe it was a production, and you walked in, I was like, oh shit, Andrew's got new clothes. That's super awesome. You know, he's got this great slim-fitting Oxford cloth button-down, right? That's something I would wear. You know, he's got nice, dark, slim jeans, perfect for the burgeoning editor-in-chief or something. And then he's got these great white athletic socks. So pulls it all together. The roots, you know, in case we wanted to miss your skin tone, we got the socks. And then we got, wow, you bought a second pair of orange Merrill shoes for this outfit? Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, real. Andrew is probably one of the more insincere, both insincere and, no, he's very sincere. Both more insecure people I know. We all have our insecurities, that's okay. We were talking earlier over lunch. I think Andrew's learned to use chopsticks by now, which is cool.
Just so you know.
You can pull them right out of your socks. It's because they're long and they fit. One in each. And we were talking about, we had a mutual friend a while ago. Her name was Hillary. And she left us, which is fine. I'm okay with it. She did something even more drastically unacceptable, than leaving us physically, which is unfriending a lot of us on Facebook. It's so deeply hurt. It's just something that happens, and she made a life decision, and Andrew is terribly convinced that she hates him. Untrue. They had a great time working together as managing editors. I don't really have much else. What did I touch on? Articles, satire, clothes, sex. Did I talk about sex?
Is he filibuster?
The only thing I've got about this is that I believe Riley once was suggesting or speaking of like a law in which you were allowed to walk around naked, but only if you couldn't be aroused. And of course, I guess for people with penises, you would walk around, and if you were aroused, then your dick would be hard, and that's a real giveaway. And of course, Andrew, in his infinite wisdom, is like, well, how would it work for women? Wouldn't they just have like puddles beneath their feet? I hope things are a little cleared up for you now. All right, that's all I have. Thanks a lot, Andrew. Really appreciate it.
Good stuff. Our last presenter before Andrew, the Rumble from Down Under, Evan and his indigestion.
Well, how can I follow that? Before I do anything that I pre-wrote, I really liked the bit there, but were you grimacing because it was too spicy for you? Anyways, it was hard writing jokes at Andrew's expense since I usually do it as a coping mechanism. But it's very fitting that Andrew is having a roast today since his favorite form of humor is actually self-deprecating, and he ran out of material. He's a glutton for punishment, which makes sense since he doesn't eat. He weighs about as much as 2 babies in a trench coat, except the 2 babies dress themselves. I'm pretty sure I've seen more beef on a steakhouse toothpick. This isn't the first time Andrew's donated a large sum of money. As Lawrence mentioned, his parents donated computers, as you might know, which in most organizations would mean people are buying their way into power. But not here. Andrew was not EIC because he donated anything. It was because he had a car. So sorry, Kat. No, this surprisingly is the first time Andrew has paid for a company. But he makes money now, so keep an eye out. But no, he has friends, clearly like me. He has a house. I get drunk at it and sleep. It's a great time. For those who don't know, Andrew and I have this fun, odd couple dynamic in which I'm mean and he thinks we're a couple. The really funny part is he's going to apologize to me for that later. But we are both in the copy department, which makes us 2 of the few students who actually read an entire MQ. And he's the only one who hasn't made it funnier. He has a house, fuck him. I've been trying to get him to buy a cat so he can have another emotionally distant creature using him for food. Okay, I'm glad these are going over well. You know, in a past life, I think I could have been an insult comic. And in his past lives, Andrew was a bunch of prey animals. You know, the kind that have a bunch of kids. You know how Mormons are. And then one of them was a jerk, so it became this. Barack, in his past lives, was an underground avant-garde film director whose work was unappreciated in his time. So a lot like him now, except that guy made a film. Kat, ironically, was a cat, and she's been paying penance to rodents ever since. She and Andrew get along great. Sage, perhaps we've met before in a past life. And perhaps then you made a better first impression. Funny transition. Andrew, as Jazz said, you aren't so much not straight acting as you don't know how to act gay, which is fine. Not a problem with that. Gender and sexuality are tricky subjects. Some of us have to get degrees in it. Stay in school, kids, or go back eventually. But if you ever decide you want to learn how, Matt has a few ideas on what it means to be gay. They're all stereotypes from the 50s, but still, lots of them. He was supposed to be here when I wrote that joke, and then he dropped out. But who knows? Maybe in 5 or 6 years he'll come back. Who haven't I made fun of yet? Summer. Yes. What embarrassing thing could I say about you that you wouldn't gladly scream? Your life sounds like the exaggerated story my cousin would write on Facebook. Except I like their statuses. Lawrence, something gussety crotch. Thank you for laughing. I know I phoned that one in, but so did he, so. Puns. Hannah, serious question. Are you constantly baked? Because you talk like the cartoon character that kids think is laid back, but parents know. And your bit would have made more sense. And finally, Daniel, Connor, I was planning on coming up with a joke during your sets, but nothing popped, so sorry. But this is about Andrew, the man of the hour, in that he paid for the whole hour, so he might as well do this. Andrew, you're a great friend. You were a great AIC, and you can't tell us what you do now, but I'm sure you're great at that, too. Your success is why I cry myself to sleep. Or would if I drank enough. But no, if you ever need evidence of how many people care about you, just think about how much work it is to write this much material on your life, and how many people and Sage were willing to do that for you. And that's it.
All we have left is Andrew. Oh no, shit, we have Cole left. Wow, what a forgettable guy. Yeah, before I introduce Andrew, I'd like to invite our content editor Cole up here. Cole was volunteered to insult comedy everybody who donated his name, as long as they donated past a certain dollar amount. And these are those people.
All right, so most of these people aren't here, except for one, which we'll get to. So if I could get lots of laughter after every joke.
That's your job.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm going to try and get this all in under 30 seconds. Okay. Kevin Chu. More like Kevin Chu's a better name. Nicole Teixeira. Sounds like the name of an AYSO soccer captain. Jack Enneking. More like Jack Enema King. Dr. Sean Powell, MD. They say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, so your wife must have eaten a fucking tree. Philip Hodgson. That name sounds like you wear glasses. Daniel Jackson. Sounds like your dyslexic father named you after his favorite drink. We really do appreciate your contributions. We couldn't have done this without you. Hillary Moorfield. I'm surprised you spell Hillary with one L. I'd expect you to have taken a lot more L's in your life. Kristen Munch. Is it Mwench or Munch? Either way, doesn't matter. You eat loud. Jeffrey Moss. As our oldest alum, I bet hair only grows on the north side of your head, because male pattern baldness is a serious problem with older gentlemen, and it really needs to be addressed. Colin Parent. You should take advice from your own name and call your parents. They really love you and miss you. Last but not least, Sora Chi. Working on my night chi is more like working on my night chi. Please better yourself. That's all I have. Thank you.
C- Ryan Gosling impersonation. I'd like to introduce Andrew with a few fun facts that we've collected about him. These are all super true. Andrew likes No Man's Sky. That's a fact. If you made a word cloud of all the things Andrew says, the biggest things would be, actually. The classified part about Andrew's job. The classified part about Andrew's job is really just all the shit his coworkers talk. In high school, Andrew was voted most likely to call his dad Papa. Andrew cuts his fingernails one at a time. He one a day. He does one day on a pinky, and then the day next he does this finger, and he moves down. And then when you get to the end, just hop right back to the front. It's a perfect system. Lastly, here I've got it. Andrew, tell me if this is true. You get a subscription service called Yuppie of the Month Club. That's all I've got. Put it together for Andrew. Rip us a new one. Wow. Boy, I mean, you guys had like a month to work on this. Not a month, but like I got the email about this like, 2 weeks ago? It's just sad. Really sad. No, really. This has been great so far. These are notes. I'm not going to go quite on the script, but I did decide to try to come up with insults about everyone here. I'm terrible at that, so it's more just stories that I think are funny and like vaguely get at parts of your personality, but like, there's some insults in there too. So we'll see how it goes. And since I am such a creature of habit and organization, I am literally going to go in the order that's on that board that you all roasted in, because I have no sense of pacing or originality. So, without further ado, the first one to go up was Barack. I really admire Barack for how seriously he takes satire and the MQ. Really reminds me of all my failures in this org, which is just great. I really love that. But that's obviously, it's obviously really good quality to have in your editor-in-chief. But it goes a little far sometimes. I remember one time last year, we were at one of those productions where we sit around and play Pictionary, and some of us pretend to care about it, and others actually really do care about it. You can guess which one I am, which I can say now because I'm no longer in this org. Anyway, sorry, I just had to get that out. So he walks up to me one time though, and because we're looking at the issues, and it's we're really reveling in the hard work we all did, and it's super fun. And he walks up to me. He's pointing at this brief he wrote. He's like, "Hey Andrew, so I just wanted to show you killed this joke in this brief. I mean, I had the word repetition here, and in a printout you got rid of it, and you really that killed the bit. Like, you shouldn't have done that." And I'm literally sitting here like, really? We're sitting at this meeting. The issue is in print. We're sitting here looking at it, and you felt the need to walk up to me and be like, "No, like you killed this joke. This is wrong. Don't do that again. Come on, Andrew." But he takes the satire that seriously. You really got to admire that. Other interesting thing about Barack actually is that he has met my mother, which is something that he doesn't have in common with most of you people, because she really doesn't need that in her life. I try to shield her from as much of that stuff as possible. He really doesn't need that. But not only has he met my mother's taken quite a shine to him, which I think is partly because he's a Broncos fan, God bless his soul, which my mother also is for some god-awful reason. But at one point, she actually remarked to me, because she had given me a shirt with that god-awful horse on it, because she thought I might like it for some reason. I don't know why. And I told her, "No, Mom, thanks, but I really don't want that." It was like a Broncos Super Bowl champion shirt. And she looks at me dead in the eye and says, "Okay, I'll give it to my younger, better son." She really, I don't know what you did, but yeah. Anyway, by the way, she's already told me, totally 100% unsolicited, that she will get you a job after you graduate. This is real. I'm not making this up. So if you want to work in the defense industry, hit her up. She will, yeah, didn't do that for me, of course, but that's fine. All right, so next in the order was Hannah Rosenblatt. Hi, Hannah. I have to say, I'm very flattered. I was very flattered when I saw you at the start, because you considered this event that's in my honor important enough that you put on shoes. I don't know how I can repay that. That's so profoundly nice of you. God, I have to think about that for a while.
Next up was Sage. It's kind of been said, but I haven't really had the chance to get to know Sage all that well yet. Hopefully that'll change. But I do know when the first time I met you, you were thinking about joining the Guardian as well as the MQ. I remember you telling me this, and I don't exactly remember what the order of things was, but I'm pretty sure you were going to base which org you joined on who was cuter in the org between the Guardian and the MQ. So congratulations, I guess. Unless she was actually going with the uglier group, right? In which case, sorry. So next up is Summer. Summer's also quite the Broncos fan, actually. She's also quite the Broncos fan. And, now that I've divorced myself from the dumpster fire that shall not be named, that I used to like as a football team, I might end up coming around to the Broncos eventually because, my mom likes them, Summer likes them. I mean, well, Brock likes them, but I can get over that. That's fine. I can get over it. But I do have to just completely revel in the satisfaction that our piece of shit, completely unoriginal, stone cold, robot of a head coach is now your offensive coordinator. This is going to be fun. This is going to be so fun. I'm just so happy for you. I really am. You already had no offense. You already had Noodle on him until he left, and now you have Simeon. And now you get an offensive coordinator whose idea of an original play is, it's 3rd and long. I know what I'm going to do. Give it to our running back and run it up the fucking middle all day for no gain. Then punt it to our horrible special teams. So have fun with that. Good luck winning another Super Bowl anytime soon. Good luck. Good fucking luck. Next up was Connor. So here's my roast about Connor. This literally, I have spent so long on this. This is the one bad thing I can say about you. Not even bad, just roasty, I guess. The first time I met Connor, we were sitting at production. This was, it was the beginning of last year. It was Welcome Meet production, actually, and I'm sitting kind of by the door of Glacier Point, and in walks this kid. And at first I noticed him because he's just kind of glowing. So he's projecting on whatever I was doing. So I look up, I'm like, oh, hi. So he's standing on the wall and he goes, hi, is this the MQ? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah, we're doing production. He's like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah. They talked about it at orientation and it sounded really, really fun. It seemed like it might be something I want to get into. And I was like, well, okay, like I said, we're doing production. So you can sit down, you can tell jokes. It's like, oh no, I actually have a thing I needed to go do, but maybe I'll come to some of your events, and then he just basically runs off. And at first I felt bad because I thought it was intimidating or something, like I could be intimidating, but he really is just that nervous. It's kind of funny. But fortunately, he's kind of gotten over that. He's come into his own as a graphics editor and. You could tell by his roast, right? He was really smooth, just, keeping his pacing up. And, yeah. So I'm really happy for you. I really am. Good job. So next up is Jazz, who wasn't able to make it, although that didn't stop her, which is very Jazz. Interesting thing about Jazz that we run into, which this shouldn't even be a roast, but you people are so fucked up that it is. Jazz actually likes her family. She's got these two mothers who are apparently just wonderful people who she goes home to and talks about them a lot, and she's got a brother she really likes, and it makes her so unrelatable to you fuckers. Get help. People just look at her like she likes her mother. What's wrong with her? How is that possible? Trust me, you all are the fucked up ones, not her, which is what I tell myself. So next up is Daniel. Daniel, I have to say, I really didn't think that anyone would ever out-weird Allie and I on the quote wall, but you did it. You have, wow. I cannot believe that. Like, you scroll through that fucker, and it's just like, Daniel. Oh, he said this in the car. Oh, he said this in production. Oh, there's a Matt quote. There's Daniel. Foreskin. Daniel. I mean, props. I really didn't think anyone was ever going to do that, but it only took less than a year. So next up is Kat. I hope this story isn't too personal, but Kat is, well, I've told it to enough people that it probably doesn't matter. Kat is a very affectionate person, a very physically affectionate person, to the point where she compelled me to come out. Because she was getting kind of, touchy and snuggly at a party, and I was thinking, well, I'm okay with this, but how far does she want this to go? Yikes. So I ended up turning to, I think Elizabeth was next to me, and being like, someone should probably tell her that I'm gay. No one knew it at this point. Literally no one. So thank you, actually, for enabling that, because it probably wouldn't have happened until, like, now. Honestly. Probably. Next up was Lawrence. Lawrence actually kind of stole my bit, but it's okay. I'll tell it from my perspective. Which bit? I'm getting to it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I kind of deserve it, but on the other hand, he super deserved it, so no, so Lawrence, like Lawrence said, I had lunch with him a little while ago, and he was sitting across from me at the table, and I was talking about how I take things kind of personally a lot of the time. Like, I'm a pretty insecure person, and basically the story he told, and he basically just looks at me and is like, Andrew, that's stupid. Why would you do that? No, don't think like that. That's dumb. I just lost respect for you by having you say that. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I like you, Lawrence, but we approach our personal lives very differently. Like, it's one of the few things that I find hard to relate to you on. Yeah. Like I said, he stole my bit, so. The next person on my sheet is Jacob. I wrote material on him, and then I checked, and it turns out he wasn't doing a roast, but I'm going to do it anyway, actually, because I'm my own person. Jacob is the only person I've ever met who I'm immediately suspicious of every time he compliments me. Like, literally anyone else I know or don't know will compliment me, and it makes my fucking day. I'm just like, oh, that's so nice, thank you, that's so nice. And Jacob does it, and when he does, I say, okay, I'm 98% sure you're actually insulting me, and I just haven't figured out how yet. Like, this doesn't make any sense. So that makes our relationship interesting, but, that's okay. Life should be interesting. Okay, so last one on my list was Evan. So, first of all, Evan's memory is just atrocious. I don't know if you all know this. He has forgotten my middle name on numerous occasions, which that doesn't sound so bad until you remember that my middle name is Evan. Granted, it's spelled normally, but still. So here's another interesting perspective on Evan. This is going to be another story. I'm a story guy. So he gave me and Jacob graduation gifts last summer. At the end of the year, which that sounds nice, right? That's like a nice thing for a friend to do. Except his gift to me was to finally read all of the emails that I had sent out the entire year, every week, which I worked hard on, by the way. And then his gift to Jacob was to finally actually follow him on Tumblr instead of just periodically like checking on it and like saying, oh, like that was a really funny thing you reblogged, but then not following him. And you should keep in mind, these were things that gave both of us some actual anxiety. Like, I was sitting here thinking, like, why isn't he I worked hard on these emails. I inserted jokes that I thought he would like. Why why is he not reading them? And Jacob's not going to admit it, but I think he was a little bit anxious about it too. So, so there's that aspect to it. And then here's the other thing to consider, to keep in mind. Right, okay, sorry, hang on, I jumped ahead. Basically, the cliff notes on that is, Evan stopped doing things to both of us that were mean, and he called that a gift. So that tells you something, doesn't it? The other interesting thing to note, Jacob wasn't actually graduating. He's still in the MQ. So these were gifts that he gave us because he was graduating, not us. Because he was graduating. If that's not some next level vanity, like, my God. So that was the end of my set. I also want to point out that I actually wrote down what my drinking bit was going to be, and I uttered, because it was a challenge to see like how many jokes got recorded. And actually, Barack, would you mind reading what I wrote out loud?
Oh, good one. Take a shot if you hear any of the following words or phrases. Fiesta, I had that one and I cut it. Utah, parentheses, train or truck simulator.
Which none of you got.
Barack Tazori is a loser.
I had that. It would have been a lot funnier. I had that because I figured it would happen enough that someone would question me on whether I'm just picking things out of thin air. Then I'd whip that out and have him read it. But whatever, it's fine. Everything's fine. No, but what that basically means, I mean, this is kind of a compliment actually, because what it means is I tried to predict the jokes that would get repeated most often and failed miserably. Or the other way you can interpret that is that my rules for myself were too strict. Because like I feel like no one would have faulted me if I had drank every time someone said the word Mormon. But Mormon's not on the list, so I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. Couldn't do it. I couldn't make myself do it. I'm a fucked up individual, ladies and gentlemen. God. Thank you. So, the people who are best at roasting people are the people themselves, as it turns out. So the last thing I wanted to say, this isn't part of the set anymore. I just wanted to talk a little bit about why this happened. So I did, when I found out that you didn't have money for a 7th issue, I was like, okay, well, I should help with that. But I want to just say that my motivation was not to buy affection. It was not to have some event that happened. I mean, that clearly would have backfired, right? I mean, because, yeah. No, what I thought about was the fact that I spent 4 years in this organization, and it was by far the best part of my time here. And I was terrified at the prospect of people younger than me who came after me not getting to do that and not getting the full experience that I got, because it changed me for the better. So I felt compelled to try to make sure that people could get the incredible friends and the work ethic. Well, some people got work ethics. And the honestly, the distraction from what was otherwise a pretty bleak existence at this school. I mean, I'm out now, so it's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I felt the need to justify, sort of why I did what I did. By the way, it was my money, just so everyone knows. It was not my parents'. It was my money. I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah, did I have anything else? No, I think that was it. All right. Well, so just the last thing. Honestly, I am so... I did that on purpose. No, I actually didn't. So just the last thing. I am so honestly grateful that you all did this for me. Well, not just for me. It was kind of a big thing. But I'm honored that I was sort of the guest of honor. It makes me feel like I am still in your thoughts, which is a nice thing to feel. Because I kind of just assumed you'd forget about me. But yeah, I mean, I was thrilled when I got Cole's email, and I've honestly been looking forward to this for the past 2 weeks, and I had a lot of fun, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew and Lawrence, for pulling us an hour over. The red light's been flashing for like 2 minutes.
Cameras don't have any memory left.
They're done. We're running on empty. Yeah, so this calls it, be back next year for the eulogy.